Okay, 2006 Honda Odyssey. This is the two-piece case, the P36A, and the complaint with this was when the owner of the car was driving on the parkway. After so much time, the D light would start flashing. So we brought it in, we scanned it, and the code was P0741. Torque converter clutch stuck off. So that is a mechanical code. So we did get the okay to do an overhaul on this. So something like that, as far as what could be the possible causes, we could have an issue in the valve body. The converter itself could be the problem. Up here on top is linear C. And these have internal solenoids, and there actually is an on-off lockup solenoid internal. Right where the dual linear is, the A and B. You pull that cover, the solenoids off, then you pull the cover off, and the solenoids are behind that. And one of them is solenoid D, is a lockup solenoid. So we're going to look at the linear C. We'll check the valve body real good. I am going to send the converter out to a local rebuilder here that we use to cut open for a report, just to kind of see if the converter itself is no good, or if that looks okay, then we know it's something in the transmission got to pay real close attention to. All right, so I'm going to get a little closer with this, and we'll go over a couple of things on the outside first. We'll identify everything, and also I mentioned it on a teardown video on a BCLA, and consequently, right after I filmed that, then this comes in. But I'll get a little closer. But it has to do with this connector here. Pretty much what happened was one of my wholesale accounts, just a few blocks away, had to change the starter in probably an 06, 07 Odyssey. I believe it was almost the same car. And after the starter was done, the shop had called me and says, hey, you know, we just did a starter in this, and now the transmission's in limp mode and I got codes that won't clear. So I said I got to get the car over here to check it out, and let me get a little closer and I can show you what happened. But starter's real tight coming out. Even the technician, the R&R guy here, said, you know, this starter is a little tough to come out. So we were looking at it, and you know, ended up, instead of taking it from the top, which I believe what they did, we had to pull the transmission out anyway. So after the frame was down, we got the starter out no problem. But this is real tight here. This is in the way, and this connector here for the internal solenoids, the 3-shift lockup, the on-off solenoids. Apparently what they probably tried to do was, to get a little room, was take the bolt out and pull this out. Meanwhile, it's attached to solenoids, and they ripped the wires right out. So I have the piece to show you. And again, I filmed the BCLA teardown, which is similar, has this also, but I mentioned that because I didn't think I was going to be getting one of these in, you know, like the next day. So let me get a little closer, and we'll go over some stuff on the outside and start with the teardown. Right, so I got this thing propped up on a block of wood here, because without it, it's going to kind of tip back. But here is the connector, and some of the pieces that they ripped the wires right out, trying to move this out of the way to change the starter. So, you know, they took the bolt down, they probably pulled it to try to get a little more room, and that's the end result. So we got to start to do one of these, and I bought the harness, I think the harness, a little mini harness here, from the dealer. I don't know, I'm thinking maybe $100. So be careful if you ever have to do a starter in one of these here. All right, so let me see if I can turn this thing, get this thing propped up. Okay, so I'm going to get these lines out of the way, but you have your input and output speed sensors. You have your neutral switch here, linears A and B, linear C, pressure switch here, and there's one more on this side, so there's a total of 3. These are the later style ones. Temp sensor down here, and this vent. The vent I like to take off. It's just a rubber cap, so I don't want to lose that. And this little piece here by the filler tube, or by the dipstick tube here, a ground wire gets hooked up here, so I like to clean the surface of this. That's on a lot of the Hondas. All right, so I think that's about it for the outside stuff. So I'm going to start taking this stuff apart here. I guess we'll start with the solenoids up top. We'll take this. They might have to flip this up and get the lines. Okay, so let me get my done here. Okay, we'll start with linear C. Okay. This side. I got actually Honda on this bench too. I'm working on. We got a lot of Hondas here. So we're going to take the linears A and B off, and then behind that, behind the solenoids as a cover, behind that are the solenoids. That. All right, next, I broke this loose here for the switch. I'm not sure how easy it's going to come off. Okay, good. Okay, I'm going to take these 10 bolts out with the lines. Right, now we got the speed sensors here. And then this speed sensor has the spacer on it. So you want to make sure that that goes back. And one is the input, one is the output. And you got to be careful if they happen to get crossed, you may have no reverse. And the other one. Okay. Let me take this out. All right, so I'm gonna flip this up and we're gonna take the two lines off. I gotta get my 17. Where is that? Take the bolt out of the temp sensor, but I may leave that in because sometimes they're a little tough to come out, and I can always knock it out from the inside. Let's put it in there. Let's take a look. Maybe we can get it. You know what? We'll leave that for now. We'll knock that out from the inside. Okay. So on top, I got one cover, 3 12mm bolts, and another small cover that we have to release the snap ring. Come up here, and there's a snap ring with a bearing that has to be released. All right, now let's get the 12. Alright, got a couple of dowels here. Alright, so I'm going to pull this cover off now. Okay, cover for the solenoids. Alright, what I'll do is I'll just give you a close-up shot of these solenoids here, and we'll unplug them. Well, let me just switch angles real quick. Give me 1 second here. Okay, So we're going to unplug the solenoids. Of course, these two are tied together. It's pretty hard to cross these and get them mixed up. So we'll just unplug all these. Okay. Let's see if we can get this thing out. There's an O-ring in there and probably some crap that got caught. Okay, it's moving. There we go. Okay. There's the piece. Going to clean all this up around here. And there's your 4 on-off solenoids. Alright, so I'm going to switch angles again. And we're going to take all the bolts around the outside. I'm going to take this end nut off up top. Release the snap ring and pull the cover off. All right, just give me a few minutes. Let me get set up for that. I'll be right back. Okay, let's get this end nut off. I knocked the peen out. Okay, so here's the end nut. Now, there's a washer that's pressed in. Got a couple of splines on it. All right, on this one there is an X, and that X is going to face up. All right, let's get the bolts out. All right, a couple more. All right, just 2 more in the front here. 1, 2. Okay. Alright, looks like all the bolts are out. Now, let's see how easy that bearing's going to drop down. Sometimes these cases come right off, and sometimes it gives you a little problem. Let me grab my snap ring pliers. Of course, this bearing is not dropping down. All right, I think I got it. Just gave it a little push. Let me get my light here. Let's see if we can, let me just get set up here again. If we can get this thing moving. Okay. All right, so I got this thing moving. The snap ring is definitely out of that. Actually, put you guys on hold about 5 minutes ago. I think this is going to come up fairly easy. And I'm kind of getting it where all the dowels are. There we go. Let's see if this thing comes off. Not sure if I ever had one come off that easy. Alright, so now in the case, there's a feed pipe that goes there. Okay. Alright, so now we got to take these two end nuts off. And so we have the third shaft here, and these bearings, the speed sensors sit here, and you got a bearing for the third shaft, and the bearing sometimes goes bad and it takes the speed sensors out. So if you have one that doesn't shift or with speed sensor codes, take the speed sensor out and physically look at it. All right, there should be fourth and fifth. You got second and low here, and of course third. Okay, let me get set up, take these two end nuts off, and then we can continue taking this transit apart. This kind of has to be disassembled in the, you can't take the shafts out like your typical one. Got to be disassembled in the before you pull the shafts out and reassemble the same way. All right, let me just get my sizes and things together, and I'll be back in about 5 minutes again. Okay. All right, so I knocked the pins out because they're staked. This one comes out the opposite way. That's regular. So we got two different sizes here. This has the arrow. When the arrow course shows which way it tightens. So this can break off. And then we have another, this is a regular washer. And then on the load drum, where the load drum is, that has another one of those spline washers. Okay, so we'll take this off here. regular washer. And let's see if we can get the bearing tight. Okay. Yep, there we go. Okay. Again, the X faces up. Let's see if we can get this bearing off. And this one. Okay. Now real quick is just take the filter, get that out of the way. I'm going to try to get it out of the way. There's another bolt over the filter. I'm not sure if I'm going to be able to get this out. Filter bolts. Let's see. Alright, so I got this out of the way. Splash shield. And the filter off the mount. Got a bit of view of this, so we gotta, when we get this apart, we gotta check the regulator assembly, because you know they like to get the ring grooves in them. This out, another shield. Okay. All right, I want to get rid of that case. I need a little room. Let me just show you the case real quick. And I'm going to get rid of some of the soil. Okay, so we got some feed pipes that we're going to take out, place new O-rings on here, and inside here is your cooler return filter. We're going to change that out as well. All right, and of course the temp sensor, which I'll knock out from the inside. Not a big deal. So let me get rid of this. I'm going to get rid of some oil. I'll be back in a few minutes. Okay. We'll start disassembling here. All right, we're going to knock that. slider. I'm going to try to tap this out. I'm going to just pull that off. Let me go get my puller real quick. Give me 2 seconds here. Let's pull this thing off real quick. Okay, here's the hub. 5th. Okay. I'm going to take off low drum. Okay. Let's first and coast or low hold. I don't know if this is going to come out. Yeah. All right, you got spraying in here. This aside. Okay. Main shaft. And now 3rd. All right, so we have a washer here. All right, so this gear is going to have to come off. Let's see. Okay. So we're going to take this gear off. We got a snap ring. We've got to press this gear off here. Snap ring, cover, and then you have your split ring. Okay, that's that. That aside. All right, now we're going to pull this thing off. I'm going to take this, actually, you know what? Yeah, I'll take that off. So it goes there. Now this linkage may be in the way. get these shafts out here. Okay, one thing I want to do, here's the pin for the park, and I'm going to move, let's see, this is not in park, but I'm going to move it so the parking pole does not interfere. Okay, that is back. I can probably even take this out. Okay, parking pole, spring. All right, so let's see if I can get this set out here. This is perfect. There's a sleeve down there. It's also good. Here's the diff. Okay. All right, now we gotta move this linkage again because this is in the way. See if we can sneak this out. Yes. Okay. Third shaft, a couple of rings, and no ring grooves here. Okay. All right, so let me move this aside, and we'll probably go through this, take this valve body apart. These look like they may have bleed bolts in them too. I'll take this valve body apart maybe later or tomorrow. Let me move this aside here. And one thing, in case I forget to mention it, sometimes this third shaft gets ring grooves in it and you may have to change this valve body, the main valve body, because this is the main valve body, the regulator body, and I guess maybe they would call this the servo valve body. And then you have like a secondary valve body in here with clutch pressure control valves. But if you ever have to change the main valve body, of course you got to match up the casting, the R36. Got the 3-letter code. This is R36. There may be another code though. But anyway, the point is that these transmissions are used on Acuras. They're used in Hondas. They're used in Saturns. So if you get a valve, you have to get a valve body, and this happened to me, and I believe it even may have been the same code. You make sure you use your manual valve, 100%, the original manual valve, because if it is, this code is the same, but it is out of another vehicle, then you have the good chance of getting no reverse. And again, it's happened to me. So make sure if you have to change valve body, use your own manual valve, original one. If it comes with the manual valve, take it, chuck it. All right, let me get some room here. This just had a 741 code, so you may not see too much with the clutches. But I have to, this session I got to wrap up in about 10 minutes. Okay. Let's get this. All right, this was on the secondary shaft. You got a bearing that goes against the case here, and it sits here. but I'll just leave it there for now. Okay. This should come out. These. We do get banner kits. There's the third shaft. Alright, so let's take a look at these real quick. Just face you down a little bit. Okay. Okay. And like I said, clutches, not really a typical clogged screen problem like we're used to. But these will be overhauled with the GPX, and these all look good. Right, this is thick. And change the bottom. I like to change the bottom steel because it gets a groove in it. Okay. And this is fourth. Clutches all look pretty good. Over 100,000 miles on this. All right, now second. And again, you want to make sure that sleeve is nice and smooth. Otherwise, it may get a compromised 1-2 shift. All right, so there's a little thin snap ring in here I got to find. I got to find the opening. Okay, now let me get a couple of scribes here and get this thing out. Again, very nice, but that's steel. All right, so I got to stop for now, but I'm going to get this thing set up. We'll pretty much tomorrow we'll take the valve body apart, you know, in sections. All right, so we're going to continue with breaking down the valve body and taking the linkage out. Let's see. All right, the linkage. can just take it out and move it out of the way. That. Okay. And then we'll get the ring is down here. We'll do all that tomorrow or later. All right, so I'm gonna leave it like this, and then we will continue on that. All right, so I will be back. I gotta run out, but I will be back. Okay, so I'm gonna continue and take this valve body apart. All right, so I'm gonna get this linkage piece out here. I'm gonna release the spring. I'll show you that. Release the spring right here. Alright, so now get this up and out of the way. Okay. And remove our tubes. And then we can start with the regulator body. Now I've got an accumulator here. I'm going to change the O-ring. And again, on this accumulator body, it looks like we got a couple of air bleed bolts. It should come right out. Oops. One left. Okay, regulator body looks good in here, nice and smooth. Normally, those get grooves in them, but that one's good. All right, now we'll pin, again, accumulator and the rod for selecting reverse. Okay, take this out, got an O-ring here. Separator, little separator plate. And I got the call from my converter, the local converter rebuilder, that we sent the converter out to and confirmed that the clutch was no good. I also confirmed the clutch was no good because we had the flusher on it. And after running for about 5 minutes or so, we looked at it and the screen from the hot flush machine was full of material. And I know it didn't come from any of the clutches because those are all good. And then he called back in the afternoon and says, yeah, the clutch was wiped out. So that was our 741 code. So we got a bearing, we got a pipe, Take all that out. All right, now let's continue here. Going to change the O-rings on the solenoid, change the O-rings on the accumulators. Right one there. Okay. Got some accumulators here. I'm going to change the O-rings. I'm going to change the O-rings on the solenoids again. Another accumulator here. Put that aside. For the linkage, slide right out. And we got a couple of check balls here. Looks like we got two. See if these will come out. Okay. A little bit easier to flat sand everything. Okay. Let me find. There we go. All right. So we got one check ball here, one here. Tight on a couple of dowels here. No. Okay. All right, so we got a check ball. Got a check ball here. And a check ball here. So I'm going to clean all that up, flat sand all that. Let's see if these will come out. That's a little tight. It's a little tight. Got a screen. This, I believe, is for lube. And we got a check valve and spring here. Oh, we got a check valve and broken spring here. So I got to identify this and see if I can get another spring for it. Could be for converter clutch. Alright, that's broken. Spring is broken. So I'm going to see what I can find. I'm sure they're standard size. I probably have one. Get all the tins out. Alright, so next I got to get this 3, looks like 12s around the pump. So let me just find my socket. Okay. Just gonna get them out. Okay. All right, main valve body. And again, remember, if you ever have to change this main section of valve body, reuse your manual valve. These dowels are stuck in there. Okay, pump gears. Alright, we're going to take this plate off. I got the tank heating up. There is actually another one. These up. And this will probably come right out. This is the race. Okay, now the only thing left to get out, which the reason why I got the tank heating up, is this sleeve. I'm going to take this bolt out. I'm going to try to get it out before I heat this up. Because I want to get the sleeve out here to change the O-ring behind it. So, let's knock this tab out of the way. Alright, there's the little piece that holds the bearing down. I'm not sure how easy this one's gonna come out. Well, let me just put you guys on hold for a minute. I'm gonna get it set up and see if I can knock it out. If not, it's gotta go heat up in the tank, and then I will try to get it out from there. So just give me 1 second here. All right, so I can't get this out. This is not coming out easy. I'm gonna have to put this in the wash tank, which again is heating up. So anyway, we have this 09 Honda Odyssey, and this had a P0741 code. The complaint was the light overdrive, or the drive light flashes when they're on the parkway, and I confirmed that the converter clutch is no good. So we're doing this overhaul. They are in the process of rebuilding the converter, and I got the drums and everything done. I really just got to do the valve body and pretty much put this back together. So I'm hoping this will be ready to go by tomorrow morning and start going back in the car. So, all right, so this is gonna be a while with this. Sometimes I gotta run this thing through a few times. I gotta let the hot water in there, sit in there for a while, and then it'll expand a little bit and I'll be able to get it out. I should be able to get it out, but I'm not sure how long it's gonna take. So I flat sanded this already, and I gotta find that spring that's broken. And I guess that's about it. So I thank you guys for watching. Have a great day, and we will see you next one.